Yeah, so the net profit on doing the deal, runs at about 43,000 income or proper net profit per annum. Yeah, so just on this one deal, which is probably only a quarter of his portfolio. He's sort of smashing probably what he would have done at university. We've now managed to lift the net profit to 68. So we're getting over £1,000 a week, pure profit out of it, and that's lifted the ROI up to 23%.
Let's move quickly on to our next case study, and I'd like to welcome Sam and Michael Chamberlain, who are Michael and Sam, father and son. So, Michael, first of all, just give us a quick background about yourself and Sam, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm a chartered accountant, licensed insolvency practitioner, and I've sort of had a long-term interest in property. Sam is my son. He went to Manchester University for a term to do international finance and economics, and came back saying he didn't really think it was for him. He wanted to be an entrepreneur straight away, and then I got anything that he could get his teeth into. I'd got a property portfolio that I needed to reposition because of, or at least reposition the capital because of Section 24 tax. So I said, you can start on that with me, but you need to get an education first. And I've seen that Simon Zutshi is doing, getting good results from his mastermind, on his YouTube presentations and that. So we need to sign up to do that first. So that's what we did. So actually, Sam has done most of the on the ground work on our portfolio, and had he not timed himself so tightly, he'd have been doing the presentation. But I think you need to bear in mind this has mainly been done by someone who went on Simon's course at the age of 19 and probably did this deal when he was 22. So
which is amazing, right? And I want to congratulate you, Michael, because a lot of parents would say to the kids, oh, you got to go to university, you got to go that route. And obviously that's the route he started. But when you recognize it wasn't for him, rather than forcing him back, you found a way to help him do what he was going to thrive at. And so you need to really be commended for that. And it's obviously worked out very well for him and also for you, because he's been able to sort out your portfolio for you and then invest for the two of you. And doing this at his age is really quite inspiring. And I pass my apologies on to him that we had to change the time slightly, but still, let's talk through the deal then, Michael. So first of all, tell us what this property is and how you found it, and then also the circumstance of the seller, please.
Yeah, okay. So just flicking through.
That's great.
So yeah, that's the property.
So that is huge.
Yeah, let me just pop that down. Yeah, so it is actually a former convent. It is had various sort of, as well as being a convent, it's been a bed and breakfast, it's been student accommodation, but its latest incarnation is as a HMO. None of those changes have been through planning, but we established before we bought it that it had that use for the last 10 years, which sort of makes it valid.
So we had that question earlier, and if you can prove it's been used, you can get your certificate of lawfulness to show it's been like that 10 years, and then the planning's resolved, basically, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. So that was all good. So
okay.
Here's the killer. So we got it from a landlord letter.
No, Michael, surely they don't work. Surely they don't work.
Yeah, so we like Simon teaches, we got the database of HMO landlords in York, and we did a periodic mailing, and these landlords picked it up and picked the phone up. There were two. In fact, it was a family affair. So the father had bought it as the convent 40 odd years ago, and he'd run it, and then passed it on to his sons. And it'd been a bit of a cash cow for them. It sort of, the rental income was over 100 grand a year. They had no borrowings on it, so it's just a bit of a cash cow. But they were they were tired, and the building was tired, and they were looking for an exit, and it's not the being such a big lump of a building, it's not the easiest one to to move on. So I think they were quite interested to explore the landlord letter route, because it gave them, you know, an opportunity almost in private to explore, you know, the sale of the property.
Yeah. Yeah, and as we said yesterday, a lot of sellers, they don't like to work with estate agents. They don't want to let people know they're selling it. So if you contact them privately, they can have this conversation. It may or may not turn into a sale, but you know, no one has to know about it. So it's a really important factor to remember when speaking to landlords. So pretty big HMO. Obviously, they were, as you said, tired, wanted to get rid of it. And interesting, let's talk about, you know, what they were charging. And very often we find landlords who they've not looked after the property, they've not maximized the rent. So we can come in and do a fairly light cosmetic refurb because all the safety stuff's already in place and increase rent. It looks like you've had I want to talk through the figures, a pretty significant increase in rental income there. Do you want to talk about how you did that?
Yeah, sure. So in fact, it was so tired and they'd sort of spent so little that, you know, they really had just used it as a cash cow. And so we have experimented with you know, doing light refurbs of the room, and it has been successful. We moved the rent on one room from, you know, $450 up to about $650 for a 5K refurb. But by and large, we've actually sort of run as is, because it is such a big project to do the refurb. We want to sort of get it right first time. So we've spent quite a lot of time sort of looking, you know, talking to planners and having some architects sort of do some remodeling for us, because what we think we may well do with the building long term isn't to keep it as a HMO. We think we can probably get 4 times the income that we are getting on it now by turning it into a sort of a party house. There's another building in York that is generating about 500,000 a year of income as sort of a hen and stag do sort of location, and we think you know, this will lend itself to it. So that's probably where we'll take it in the longer term. But we just wanted to get it stabilized and get the you know, sort of the mortgage paid down while we had time to explore it. So we're not overspent on it so far.
Yeah, and that's a great thing. You know, these mega deals, they can be used as service accommodation, they can be used as HMOs. It's all about having something that's got lots of rooms, bringing lots of revenue in. Awesome. So let's just run through some of the facts on the slides. Yeah.
So is a 22. It is I suppose it's just thinking it was a 22-bed HMO, but it is licensed for about 35. So yeah, it was quite a big beast to sort of be taken on. But by that time, we had got about 40 other HMO rooms. So yeah, we weren't too fazed by the size of it.
Okay.
And so just another thing that Simon teaches there, just when you bought something from someone, just say if you've got anything else that you think might be of interest to us later down the line, you know, come back to us first. And they did, and we've since bought another 8-bed HMO off them.
Yeah, always ask that question. Do you have any other properties? And especially once you just bought one from them, you've proven that you are a serious investor. So why wouldn't they come to you first? The only reason they wouldn't if they don't know you want another one. So it might sound obvious, but always let people know you're in the market for more if you get a good price.
Yeah. And just another point on this was also sort of we're able to get multiple dwelling relief on it, because even though it is arguably one big HMO, it's got one big HMO license. When you actually sort of look at the structure of it, it's actually you know, broken down into smaller HMOs. So you know, we were able to take advantage of that stamp duty sort of relief for multiple dwelling.
And on that note, I mean, just a lesson here for people who are looking at doing bigger deals. One of our other clients, they found an old chapel that they converted into a 30-bed HMO. But when we say 30-bed, it wasn't 30 beds in one thing. It was 5 units of 6. So by having smaller units within a bigger block is a much better idea, because I think, you know, while some people might want a big unit, like, as you said, hen parties, or sometimes students like a really big kind of group, actually having smaller self-contained units of 5 or 6 people is far easier, because sometimes you do get groups of friends who want to come and live together. So having smaller units within the bigger structure is definitely the right way to structure these, especially if you're creating them from scratch.
Yeah, and yeah, we also sort of think we could, would be another way of lifting the capital value in, if we did sort of carve them up into smaller HMOs.
Yeah.
You would actually probably be able to sell them on a lower yield, which has forced the capital value up. So that's sort of another sort of thought we've got in the locker.
Great. Okay.
So the rent roll when we bought it was about 120,000 per annum, and so we have lifted it up to about 156 without, as I said, without a lot of spend. There's been quite strong upward movement in rents in York over the 3 years or so that we've had it.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, we paid, we had an agreed offer of 1.25 on it, and again, without much spend, we've sort of made a couple 100,000 capital lift on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, as Simon sort of teaches, we looked at trying to be creative with it in terms of them, vendor finance and deferred consideration and everything else, but they wanted cash, and again, as Simon sort of teaches, if the deal was good enough, you probably offer the asking price, or you do the deal in the way that the vendor wants to make sure that you get it. So
yeah, absolutely.
So we're able to do that.
You've been listening very carefully to all the stuff I've been teaching you both.
Absolutely. So yeah, we weren't the only buyers in the market. Someone else had got there with a landlord's letter, someone else in the PIN circuit. So yeah, there was some competitive tension over who actually got the deal. We bought it on about a 10.7% gross yield, which for a HMO is arguably not brilliant, but equally York in particular is got very high capital values, and a lot smaller HMOs go on a much smaller yield than that, so they typically transact at about 7.5%. So again, the size of the deal made it better values, because as Simon says, the market is much smaller of buyers, so you can get it on a better yield for the market. Covered all that. So so some of the numbers, we needed about just shy of 300,000 on purchase, which I won't go into detail, but we'd actually got that in another project. We were doing a commercial to resi, and we were able to release money that I'd got in a pension SAS with the first charge on the other property, to release that amount of money so that we got the deposit to do this deal. So the net profit on doing the deal runs at about 43,000 income or proper net profit per annum, which gave us a return on our the capital injected of nearly 15%, which I think that's acceptable for a good quality asset in location.
So. Yeah.
And it's now improved, so still no more capital required, or at least the money that we've spent on the property has come out of cash flow, so we're not actually needed to put any more of our own capital into it. So we've now managed to lift the net profit to 68, so we're getting over £1,000 a week pure profit out of it, and that's lifted the ROI up to 23%.
And I guess if Sam had gone to university and finished his degree and come out and got a job, he probably wouldn't be earning that much, would he?
Exactly. Yeah. So just on this one deal, which is probably only a quarter of his portfolio, he's sort of smashing probably what he would have done at university.
Yeah, fantastic. So Michael, I mean, obviously, I know you've got a lot of experience yourself, but obviously Sam was very new to property. Have you got a couple of tips for anyone else who's looking at doing these kind of mega deals that might be useful for them, please?
Yeah. So as I said, Sam has pretty much done the deal, run the property at the age of 22, but he was already sort of 3 years in. He'd done Simon's mastermind course. I separately put him through the chartered accountancy exams. He'd yeah, he'd sort of done 3 residential to HMO conversions, 6 rooms each. We'd done a commercial to resi of another 12 rooms. So he'd got so yeah, he sort of started small, probably as taught again, and got the experience under his belt, which was really important because funders for this size of property are quite rare as well, and they want to see that you've got the experience and the track record before they'll come in. So yeah, you've got to get the education and the experience before you go for these bigger deals, I'd suggest. But yeah,
so it's not going to be your first deal if you're new to property. We said that earlier, but once you've got some experience, then there's no reason why you can't set your sights at a higher level and go for something bigger like this. And the final thing I want to ask you, Michael, obviously, what was it like you as a dad bringing your son on this journey with you and bringing him through, first of all, the Mastermind Accelerator, and then obviously onto Mastermind?
Yeah, no, it's been great. You know, I don't want to. I've learned a lot, but it's been great to to see him sort of grow, sort of personally, professionally, as through the vehicle of property investment, so that he's now a sort of an accomplished, confident sort of young professional.
Yeah, brilliant, amazing. I wish I had this knowledge at his age. I didn't buy a first property till I was 24, and I was trying to do it all on my own, going through trial and terror. So great foresight of you to help him invest in himself and do this training. So Michael, thank you so much. I'll give all my best to Sam as well, and speak to you very soon. Thank you. That's it for Michael. Cheers. And also for Sam. Thank you guys. Awesome. Cheers. Brilliant. I do hope you got massive value from watching that inspirational case study. Hope you took lots of notes and start using some of the hints and tips in your property investing journey. Now, if you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and make sure you hit the bell icon so you'll get notified whenever we bring out new content and training that's going to help you be a more successful investor. If you got any comments, just list those below, and I'll come back and answer as many as I can. And by the way, there's going to be a link below for you to get some further training so you can find out how you can get the kind of results we've just been talking about in this interview. As ever, I encourage you to invest with knowledge, invest with skill. See you in the next video we've lined up for you.